Hey, book and wine lovers, I have a question for you. What is better than getting lost in a swoon-worthy magical world? How about getting lost with a glass of the perfect wine? That's the entire idea behind Bookish Wine. They're a quarterly subscription club dedicated to the glorious genre of romantasy, and we are obsessed. Every 3 months, you get a beautiful special edition romantasy book and a bespoke artisan-crafted bottle of wine that is custom-made and labeled to match the world and theme of the featured book, plus some other additional surprises. They do the pairing, so all you have to do is sip, read, and escape into fantasy realms. Ready to upgrade your reading nights? Volume 2 is available to pre-order now. Head over to www.bookishwine.com. That's BOOKISHWINE.com and use our code Narratives and Nightcaps. Then you can start reading, sipping, and subscribing today.
Narratives and discussions may cover heavy content. For more information and disclaimers, please visit narrativesandnightcaps.com and take care while listening.
Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, books, beverages, and author conversations. I'm Bree, always ready to dive into new fantasy worlds and take a step back in time.
I'm Meagan, part critic, always team physical copy, and forever chasing good thrillers and a great plot twist.
I'm Emily, your resident mood reader who thrives on chaos questions and lively book chats.
And I'm Jordan, equal parts heart, humor, and high-functioning caffeine addict. I come with coffee in hand, wine on standby, and a Gilmore Girls quote for every occasion.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Hello, ladies. Good to see you all.
Hello! Happy 2026! My gosh, first
Our
reading.
first official recording of 2026. So I hope we all remembered what we're doing.
I don't even know which way it's up. I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm right there with you. I think we've all had a hectic holiday season and start to the year, but that's okay. At least we have some books to talk about, even if we read them a while ago.
Yeah.
I'd say this is it's kind of funny. This is one of my favorite reading seasons, even though it's wintertime and cold and gross, depending on where you are in the world. But I don't know, it's busy at work for me. Family life is busy, and books are just a fun escape. I'm a huge romantasy reader this time of year, and so it's been kind of fun to have that escape. As we are all, as we were just talking about, very chaotic going forward.
I know.
I totally agree. Well, we can go ahead and get right into it. This is our reading recap episode, so hopefully we are maybe growing your TBR with books that we have read, spoiler-free too, so you don't have to worry about that here. Meagan, what have you been drinking lately and reading?
Okay, so for my nightcap, if you will, and I put that in quotes because you could spike it if you wanted to, but I thought I would just share my go-to Starbucks order because it is, as we've already discussed, like 9 degrees here and I'm freezing and I want something hot to drink. So I am a decaf gal, as we know, but I love the oat milk lattes at Starbucks. And so I basically get the hot version of the brown sugar shaken espresso. So it's just an oat milk latte with brown sugar and cinnamon. And they make it perfect every time, no matter which Starbucks I go to, and it's fire. So if you want one of those, definitely recommend. If you wanted to make it a nightcap, throw in some Baileys, throw in some Kahlua. I don't know, spice it up, do you? So not as fun as.
I'm gonna have to give that a try.
Yes, it's so good. And the first time I ordered it, because the first time I ordered it, I had just come off of like the summertime of always drinking the cold brown sugar shaken espressos. And I was like, how do I get this hot? And they were like, oh, you just ask for this, 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 and this. And so since then, that is like the only thing I get, which I was like, thank you, Starbucks, for introducing me to my new favorite drink.
I love it.
Going to recap, this was one I clearly read in December, but I wanted to kind of keep the holiday festivities alive. And I know we're well into we're halfway through January, which is crazy. But I just wanted to talk about this book, Three Holidays and a Wedding, because it was super cute. It's by Uzma. Gonna butcher this last name. Jalaluddin. There's a lot of L's in there. Jalaluddin and Marrisa Stapley. So this one was really cool where Uzma wrote one specific point of view and then Marrisa wrote one specific point of view. So you can tell while the book reads really well together, they each had their characters that they were writing about, which was really cool. So here goes the recap. 3 times the holiday magic, 3 times the chaos. As strangers and seatmates, Miriam Aziz and Anna Gibson fly to Toronto over the holidays. Miriam to her sister's impromptu wedding, and Anna to meet her boyfriend's wealthy family for the first time. Neither expect that severe turbulence will scare them into confessing their deepest hopes and fears to one another. At least they'll never see each other again. And the love of Miriam's life, Saif, wasn't sitting 2 rows behind them hearing it all. Oops. An emergency landing finds Anna. I'm going to go with Saif. That feels right to me. Miriam and her sister's entire bridal party snowbound in the quirky Snow Falls Inn in a picture-perfect town where fate has Anna's actor crush filming a holiday romance. As Miriam's family finds the courage to open her heart to Saif, and Anna feels the magic of being snowbound with an unexpected new love, both women soon realize there's no place they'd rather be for the holidays. So this was one of my local book club picks. We pivoted from a different book. I don't even remember what the other book was, but we were all like, some girls had read it and were not this book, but the book we pivoted from, and they were like, don't read it. We're going to change. We're going to do this one instead. So I'm very glad we did, because I am not normally a cutesy holiday book girl, but I found myself really liking this one. I said it was a great way to end the holiday season. Again, kind of read this last month, my bad. But I love how it incorporated 3 very significant cultural holidays. So it went over Christmas, obviously. It went over, why am I blanking?
Hanukkah.
Thank you. I'm like, wow, my mind just like died.
Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa.
Hanukkah, and then the third one is it Ramadan?
Ramadan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it covers those 3 holidays, and it was really cool because Miriam's family is obviously the one celebrating Ramadan, and they just talked a lot about a lot of the cultural aspects about, you know, like the things that they eat and what they do and like how they're fasting for long periods of time and all of the significance of that, which I found very enlightening. And then the Hanukkah Christmas was more of a blend written by Marrisa, Marrisa Stapley, her author perspective. And obviously I feel like we know a little bit more about that in general, but it was really cool to get all 3 points of view, and especially how in this particular story they all overlapped during that significant period of time that everyone's trapped and snowbound and everything. It was just very cute. Obviously it's a very Hallmark meets a little bit of culture kind of thing, but it was just a very inclusive holiday romance to get yourself, you know, in your hands and wrap your holiday season with a bow. So that was the first one I read. And then any questions, any concerns? I feel like
Meagan, it sounds like such a fun Hallmark-esque, like that's the vibe I love during the holidays too, is that cutesy fun, but element adding to my TBR for this December.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
will
say
say
I'm still adding it, even though we're talking
Yes.
like
December.
for sure. I mean, it's very like, you know, with any Hallmark, predictable, but you know, everyone kind of has their romance and everyone finds their love and gets paired off, but it's very well done, I think, in terms of just being a holiday romance.
Can I just say, I open this and it's immediately like, Meagan wants to read Red Rising Saga 7. Meagan wants to read Red Rising Saga 6.
I had to add all my
Meagan wants to
extra
read
books.
Red Rising Saga 5.
Guys, I'm in it.
All right,
I'm
more
going
to
to be
come about
finishing
later.
that.
Good. Just wait.
Yes. Okay, and then my second book was also a book club pick, but I didn't have a chance to talk about this in the past year. But it's a Jodi Picoult, A Spark of Light. Has anyone read this one?
No.
No? Okay. The recap, thank you to Goodreads on both of these, is actually quite long, so I'll breeze through it here. The warm fall day starts like any other at the center, a women's reproductive health services clinic, its staff offering to take care of anyone who passes through its doors. Then, in late morning, a desperate and distraught gunman bursts in and opens fire, taking all inside hostage. After rushing to the scene, Hugh McElroy, a police hostage negotiator, sets up a perimeter and begins making a plan to communicate with the gunman. As his phone vibrates with incoming text messages, he glances at it and to his horror finds out his 15-year-old daughter, Ren, is inside the clinic. But Ren is not alone. She will share the next intensest few hours of her young life with a cast of unforgettable characters. A nurse who calms her in her own panic in order to save the life of a wounded woman, a doctor who does his work not in spite of his faith but because of it, and who will find that faith tests as never before, a pro-life protester disguised as a patient who now stands in the crosshairs of the same rage she herself has felt, a young woman who has come to terminate her pregnancy, and a disturbed individual vowing to be heard. And disturbed himself vowing to be heard. Told in a daring and enthralling narrative. Oh my God, you guys, I cannot read. It's like
You're
my
doing
eyes
great.
are going faster than the words are coming out of my mouth. So
You got
sorry.
this.
Told in a daring and enthralling narrative structure that counts backwards through the hours of the standoff, this is a story that traces its way back to what brought each of these very different individuals to the same place on this fateful day. Jodi Picoult, one of the most fearless writers of our time, agreed, tackles a complicated issue in this gripping and nuanced novel. How do we balance the rights of pregnant women with the rights of the unborn they carry? What does it mean to be a good parent? A spark of life will inspire debate, conversation, and hopefully understanding.
Ooh,
So this was
sounds
another book
good.
club pick, as I said. And obviously trigger warnings. I know we put out a blanket statement, but I think by this recap alone, you should go in with caution. Definitely a more intense way to start the year if you want to pick this one up. I've read a few Jodi Picoult books. It's been a minute. This is the first one I've read of hers in a while, and I just feel like she's always done such a good job detailing these kinds of events and putting them in a really beautiful, understandable way that shows all sides of whatever party you're on. And I thought, in kind of the political climate that we're in, sometimes this is a good reminder to take a step back and read some of these more compelling stories. This one is a multiple point of view as well. I feel like she likes to write a lot of that. So you hear from the nurse, you hear from the doctor, you hear from the gunman, you hear from the hostage negotiator.
Wow.
And it's just a very compelling novel to pick up and start your year, or maybe hold off and wait for this one if you don't want to start with something so in your face. But it was a really good read. And obviously, again, trigger warnings. Don't go in blind on this one, I would say.
Out of curiosity, like how did it go with your book club discussions in tackling such a strong novel when it comes to the topic?
Yeah, it was, so my book club is predominantly it's all women and we're all moms. What was also an interesting take is there's quite a few in the nursing community. So I feel like this was a big kind of triggering point for them. And then our conversation also shifted toward, we have a lot of educators in our group too. So then we started kind of talking more like school shootings and kind of how that looks. And so it was, I feel like it went over very well. I think we all got very serious. It's a very serious book, but I feel like the conversation, everyone was very open. No one specifically said like, this was me or, anything like that. But I feel like those stories were kind of bubbling. Like you could hear, so when this person in my life has had this happen, or this person in my life has considered these options or whatever. So it was a really cool way to have that conversation without necessarily saying like, it was me who, did something like that. So I thought it was a really good book for us to pick, because it was such a heavy hitter, like not everything has to be light and fun. And it was cool to have a discussion, especially with educators and especially with nurses that have a bigger perspective on school shootings and like what to do in a lockdown situation, and have they ever been threatened at work in that way before. So it was really good.
On that note, had anyone read 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult?
No one had said, and I don't actually know that I have.
I will say that even just, and I think she definitely has her style that we're all probably familiar with in some way, but this immediately reminded me of that specifically with the multiple point of view, there being a violent event of sorts, and like backtracking through what led to that event. So I was just curious because that definitely made me think of that book in particular.
Okay. Yeah. No, I guess I don't remember anyone calling that out, and I don't think I've read that either. But yeah, and if I didn't say, this book, it moves backwards through time. So like you start with the big event, the Big Bang, and then you go backwards through like how it got to that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Quick comment that I feel like the two authors like that I will always pick up, but also will always tear my heart out and stomp on it, are Kristen Hanna and Jodi Picoult.
That's what I was going to say.
Like without fail.
Yep.
And this sounds, I don't even know, like riveting, if that's the right word, or like you're like it's sparked my interest. But I think as I've tried another pot, I think I'm just gonna have to leave this one for a few months later in the year. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and the only other thought I was going to add was it's nice to hear about and to know, right, that there are book clubs out there like this that, I don't know, what am I trying to say? We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. We're all human. And sometimes having different thoughts and opinions is okay. That should be acceptable. So the fact that you are in a book club, that you can pick up a book like this, and whether you agree or you disagree, you can have intelligent conversation, right? It's okay that we have thoughts and feelings and opinions, as long as we don't let that, drive a wedge, if you will. So this one, I'm with Emily too. It sounds very riveting. I'm actually wondering now if I've picked up a Jodi Picoult book. Like, I know the big hype was around like My Sister's Keeper, right? In like the early 2000s. And I can't say that since then I've picked one of hers.
What kind of blows my mind is that I read a lot of Jodi Picoult in high school.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you're like, should I have been reading that?
And I think about that now, and I'm like, okay, yes, I read My Sister's Keeper. I read The Pact. I mentioned 19 Minutes. Like, and I know there are others because I can picture them. And I read them all in high school.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's interesting though. So she had a new release last year, By Any Other Name.
Yep.
Which is for like historical fiction, right? So I read By Any Other Name last year. Loved it. Highly recommend.
I need to pick that one up. Did you bring it to a recap? No.
I think I reviewed it. I don't know if you did. Whether I did or not, highly recommend. But I think it's interesting that the depth and breadth of Jodi Picoult addressing what and this is a big broad brushstroke of like women's interests or challenges. Like in By Any Other Name, it's historical fiction, and it's a woman who's a ghostwriter for Shakespeare, and it talks about like her career in the 1500s in that sense, right? But it's just she does a very good job of the multi POV and these, whether they're hot button topics or not, she just handles them with such, I don't know if I said grace. That it's, as I said, she and Kristen Hanna, I will always pick them up. They will always rip my heart out and curb stomp it, but I will be happy about it in the end.
And I'll recommend it to
everybody.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that to the pod, Meagan. I love that.
You're welcome. Awesome. Sorry, it was, more depressing than the first one, but that's okay.
I don't know how mine's gonna go following that, so we're gonna see where we go.
Thinking ahead to mine too, and I'm just like, it's gonna be a really sad episode.
Well, I
It's
was
fine.
gonna bring A Little Life, and then I was like, I'll save that one for later because that one is devastating. Like,
Kind
I
of
mean,
wanted you
these
to
are
bring that because but
Bring it
okay.
in February for sure. Bring it in February.
yeah. Or
I'm
I'll
bringing
listen.
it in February, a
Well,
month of love and
Yeah, yeah. Let me just crush
Well, no,
everybody.
winter, like it
good
still
save,
is
Jordan.
like
Good
the
save.
dark.
Good.
I'm trying. Okay. Anyway, blame it on the alcohol. I don't know. I'm so my nightcap, if you will, is a pineapple margarita, actually, spiked with a little bit of cherry ginger ale. That's what we've got going right now today. I know I wrote on our notes high noon seltzer because that was originally going to be what I was going to drink, and then found some leftover pineapple margarita mix from this last week that needed to be spritzed up a little bit and decided to go with that. So
Jordan, I also have a margarita, so virtual cheers
I was
to.
hoping that that was the butterwash gin. Gosh,
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get
I
to that.
can't
Don't
wait.
worry.
Okay. Anyway, listener, for my first book I'm bringing to the recap this month, let me introduce you to and tell you about The Mad Wife by Meagan Church. Thank you, Goodreads, for this setup. From bestselling author Meagan Church comes a haunting exploration of identity, motherhood, and the suffocating grip of societal expectations that will leave you questioning the lives we build and the lies we live. They called it hysteria. She called it survival. Lulu Mayfield has spent the last 5 years molding herself into the perfect 1950s housewife. Despite the tragic memories that haunt her and the weight of exhausting expectations, she keeps her husband happy, her household running, and her gelatin salads are the talk of the neighborhood. But after she gives birth to her second child, Lulu's carefully crafted life begins to unravel. When a new neighbor, Bitsy, moves in, Lulu suspects something darker lurks behind the woman's constant smile. As her fixation on Bitsy deepens, Lulu is drawn into a web of unsettling truths that threaten to expose the cracks in her own life. The more she uncovers about Bitsy, the more she questions everything she thought she knew, and soon others begin questioning her sanity. But is Lulu truly losing her mind? Or is she on the verge of discovering a reality too terrifying to accept? In the vein of The Bell Jar and The Hours, The Mad Wife weaves domestic drama with psychological suspense so poignant and immersive, you won't want to put it down. And that is very true. I'm going to tell you right now. Gave it about 4.5 out of 5 stars. Loved it. This was a really good audiobook, by the way. I liked the narrator a lot. This is not like multiple points of view or anything. You're staying in Lulu's lane mostly. But the accents and the characters, I thought that the narrator did a really, really great job. And the chapters are Cheeto chapters, as I like to call them, too. They're really, really short that I literally did find myself. I was like, oh, one more. Oh, okay, wait, I can do another one. And
Jordan,
then another chapter.
I'm totally taking that term. Maybe we make it an official NNN term, a Cheeto chapter. It's genius. Cheeto chapter. I'm here for it.
You could just do,
Perfect.
do one more. I heard that from another podcast, actually, too, from another
Dang it.
reader, and I was like, I gotta take it.
Highest form of flattery.
But I really, really loved it. Obviously, listener, we give trigger warnings at the top. This is no exception. I will obviously let you know that. I am not a mother, right? I'm a dog mom, but I'm not a mom. I am a wife. I know what that entails. I know what that looks like. I know what that transition was like for me in my 30s. I found myself thinking of my grandmothers a lot reading this book. I found myself thinking of my mom a lot when I was reading this book. And the space that is created in society now to talk more about mental health, right? And to be able to not just write these things off as, oh, this woman is like, she's cuckoo bananas. She's just crazy.
Shit crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and you see that a lot in this book, and there's a level of frustration on behalf of Lulu, right? And then at the same time, you're going, okay, just like Lulu, like, well, wait, what's true? And I wanted to bring it to the pod because in that review that it talked about, right? So poignant and so immersive, not being like, there were twists to this that I thought, oh, that was not a direction that I saw this book going at all. So I really, really liked it and would highly recommend. So there you go. That is The Mad Wife.
Cue Taylor Swift's Mad Woman.
Yes, there you go.
Yes. Jordan, I have to ask, and maybe I've never read this, but I'm curious because I'm kind of getting, like, in your explanation in your review, like the housemaid, unreliable narrator vibe, maybe not
a little bit. Yeah. Well, Lulu is a reliable narrator in the sense that you sympathize with her. Okay. So I don't know if I could have backlisted and brought The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, right?
I read that a long time ago. That was a good one.
Okay. Now, there to me was an unreliable narrator. The character was written and designed to be unreliable. You were meant to question her from the beginning. With Lulu, as you go on this journey, it is a little bit of the housemaid vibes in the suspense sense and in like the you don't know what's coming and in the sympathizing with the character, like, what's going on? Like, are you actually experiencing what you're experiencing? You know, what level of it is your truth? You know, growing up, there was always a saying in my household, right? There's 3 sides to every story. There's yours, there's theirs, and then there's the truth.
Yep.
And it lies somewhere there in the middle. And this book, in my opinion, did a really great job of demonstrating, like, yeah, you gotta find that middle line. Because you're without giving, I feel like if I keep going on, I'm just gonna give so much of it away. But you like you find yourself feeling for Lulu and you're nervous for where things are going to end up for her. And so, yeah, but it was really, really good.
Sounds
Speaking of The Housemaid, who has seen the movie?
I did not.
What?
So we're 50%?
We're 50.
Okay.
I will say that we have a trip coming up to go visit family in another part of the country. And I've already penciled in like a date night for my husband and I to possibly go do dinner and see it. But that's just how life goes sometimes, right? I am penciling in a movie date in 3.5 weeks. In a different state. Because you're like, you understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, but I loved the movie. I thought it was good. I hope you both really, really like it. I don't know what you thought.
First to know when we see it.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Shall I move on to my second?
Please do, because
I've been dying.
Yep. Please.
Okay. Well, listener, your memoir girly is back. And I'm going to start this off at the top by saying, I do solemnly swear, I promise, I will not bring a memoir to every single recap. Maybe only half of them. But it's true. It's our podcast. We can do what we want. Okay. Anyway, so listener, let me tell you about I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. A heartbreaking and hilarious memoir by our iCarly and Sam and Cat star Jennette McCurdy about her struggles as a former child actor, including eating disorders, addiction, and a complicated relationship with her overbearing mother, and how she retook control of her life. Jennette McCurdy was 6 years old when she had her first acting audition. Her mother's dream was for her only daughter to become a star, and Jennette would do anything to make her mother happy. So she went along with what mom called calorie restriction, eating little and weighing herself 5 times a day. She endured extensive at-home makeovers while mom chided, "Your eyelashes are invisible, okay? You think Dakota Fanning doesn't tint hers?" She wasn't even showered by mom, and she was even showered by mom until age 16. Yes, you read that right. While sharing her diaries, emails, and all of her income. In I'm Glad My Mom Died, Jennette recounts all of this in unflinching detail, just as she chronicles what happened when the dream finally comes true. Cast in a new Nickelodeon series called iCarly, she is thrust into fame. Though mom is ecstatic, emailing fan club moderators and getting on a first-name basis with the paparazzi, Jennette is riddled with anxiety, shame, and self-loathing, which manifests into eating disorders, addiction, and a series of unhealthy relationships. These issues only get worse when soon after taking the lead on the iCarly spinoff Sam and Cat alongside Ariana Grande, her mother dies of cancer. Finally, after discovering therapy and quitting acting, Jennette embarks on recovery and decides for the first time in her life what she really wants. Told with refreshing candor and dark humor, I'm Glad My Mom Died is an inspiring story of resilience, independence, and the joy of shampooing your own hair.
I think my jaw was like dropping as you were reading. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, right? And I will say I got back into, so I grew up on iCarly. I grew up watching Nickelodeon, right? I can't remember if we've talked about Quiet on Set, if we've talked about the documentary that's
Seen
out
it.
there.
I don't think we've talked about it.
Okay. Highly recommend that you watch that. And again, of course, listen and watch with care. But that was the millennial generation. That was what a lot of us identify with, grew up with, all of these things. I got back around to Jennette McCurdy because I follow Alex Cooper. I listen to the Call Her Daddy podcast, and I listened to the episode that Jennette McCurdy was recently on. Actually, I believe this week her very first novel is dropping, and it's called it's debuting. It's being published. It's called Half His Age, right? And it's basically a novel that depicts her relationship as a teenager with a 33-year-old man. I mean, it's just all these crazy different things and directions that her life took. So after listening to that podcast episode, I thought, oh, I have to listen to this memoir. And it is being adapted as well. Jennifer Aniston has signed on for the project, by the way, believe it or not. I know.
What does that look like?
Yeah,
What do we
they're
mean?
adapting her.
The memoir. Oh,
So
yeah.
Jennifer Aniston is in it or producing?
She will be the mom.
Oh shit.
I know.
Whoa.
I know.
As a series or as a movie?
I can't
What do we
remember
kn- what do
if
we
it's
know?
I can't remember if it's like a limited series adaptation or if it's a film. It's one of the two. Probably a limited series. Almost like, do you guys remember The Act, which was that like adaptation of Gypsy Rose
Yes.
Blanchard?
100%.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's going to be a little bit like that almost. I don't know if it's Hulu that's picked it up or Peacock or whomever, but I'm here for it. And it's an interesting sort of thing, right? When you know a little bit about codependent relationships, and I'm not going to go into too much detail just for the safety and consideration of other people. But I will share that I struggle with codependency. I have a lot of codependent nature, a lot of codependent tendencies and different things like that. And the concept of boundaries, the concept of therapy, the idea, like it took Jennette McCurdy going to therapy, right? And to hear her therapist say, this isn't normal behavior. for her to actually understand the dynamic and the relationship she had with her mother, right? And it's crazy. Go ahead.
No, I think I love that you brought this to the podcast. Honestly, this is, like you mentioned, I think the documentary right about Drake and Josh and like all this stuff that
Yes.
all the Nickelodeon like dirty secrets, I feel like, are being like the lid that is being like lifted off of Pandora's box.
Yes.
My jaw was on the floor when you talked about in the summary, like her mom showering her or with her until she's 16.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure there's many other examples you could give, but spoiler, free.
Yeah, we're spoiler free here, but
That's
Like,
insane.
That's insane.
I know.
Insane.
That's
I know.
That's like
That's even beyond
Whoa, that's
codependency.
beyond.
That's just
to
abuse.
me.
That's just straight up
That's
abuse
abuse.
at that point.
But that is just like
Right.
yeah.
Right. And ironically enough, this won't be giving, anything really away, but Jennette McCurdy talks about, like, she actually didn't end up sticking with the therapist that labeled it abuse. That's how hard it was for her, right? Like, she went to one therapist, the therapist labeled it abuse. She walked away and said, not going to therapy. Don't need to do this anymore. And then it took another therapist afterwards, right, for like things to like, and this is, I say that this is not a spoiler because you can also like you can listen. She talks about it on the Call Her Daddy podcast episode with Alex Cooper, right, and goes into some of the detail there too. Also Cheeto chapters, honestly, like, I listened to it because I feel like I've said this on the pod before, how I love listening to memoirs, especially when the author narrates it, because it literally just feels like the other person is talking story. Like they're literally just like I'm sitting down listening to someone share their lives with me. And it feels, very just endearing. So anyway, I definitely plan on reading her novel. Her book that comes out this week, Half His Age, is a novel. It's very clear that like while there's some facts in the experiences that she had, it is a work of fiction. So who knows? Maybe I'll bring that to the pod later. We'll see if I end up doing that. But there you go. That was I'm glad my mom died. That McCurdy. We're keeping it real light and fuzzy around here, friends.
How uplifting for the new year.
Roll.
I did see.
Take us in a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Apple TV is going to pick up her.
Oh, it's Apple. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take us in a totally different direction.
Good. Go for it.
Bree, I'm taking a page out of your book with escapism and romantasy and fancy cocktails using butter washed gin. So we're like coming over on the other whole nother realm.
Cannot wait to hear about this.
So no, I am not drinking butter washed gin. This is just a plain old delicious margarita. But yeah, we'll just jump into the nightcap, I guess. But I've got two romantasy duologies that I'm going to talk about. And then my latest, I would call it obsession, I guess, interest is what I posted about last week with the butter, gin, and sea salt French 75, which is delicious. If you like a French 75, if you like gin, if you like champagne and like stronger, bubbly cocktails, highly recommend. Butter washing gin was not at all something that I like even had on my radar or next to my radar or any of the, but it was like,
How did this come across your desk?
Instagram. How do many things come across? Yeah.
Interesting.
Late night scrolling before New Year's Eve. And I think I've shared I've got small children. So my New Year's Eve is over by 9 p.m. and entails of staying home, right? So I was looking for some fun way to like, how do we make New Year's Eve fun for my husband and I when we've got two small children? We're not going anywhere. We're going to be in sweatpants and we'll be asleep by 9, right? And Instagram, I was scrolling and came across this recipe for the butter, gin, and sea salt French 75. And I said, we can do this. We're raising 2 kids. We can butter wash gin. How hard can it be? But no, it's delicious. So you basically melt butter, and then I just used a mason jar, and you pour melted butter into gin, half a stick for 10 ounces. And then you leave it on the counter, and like every time you walk by it, just give it a shake. And then put it in the freezer overnight. And then the next day, use a coffee filter and strain out the butter. And what it does to the gin, like I'm not normally a gin cocktail person. That's usually not my go-to because it's a little harsh, just for me. This is my personal flavor palette. Right? It's sometimes a little harsh. They talk about botanicals and it's just not quite like my vibe. The butter absolutely smooths it out, takes it to a next level. There's way less bite, but it does make a very strong drink. So the French 75 is delicious. Yeah. I had leftover butter gin, so I even did like a gin martini with it, like a dirty martini with using the butter gin. Delicious. So yeah, highly recommend.
So does it change the color? Like, is it more yellow or gold then in color because of the butter?
No, it's more cloudy.
Okay.
So like when you strain it out, it's not quite as like see-through clear. You can definitely tell that it's cloudy, but it is white, clear, but yeah. And then you just keep it in the freezer, and I mean, it's gin. So like you just use it whenever you want to make a cocktail. Yeah.
That's so fun.
It is so fun. And there's a step-by-step video on Instagram of Emily making the drink, and the whole recipe was in our newsletter. So if you sign up for a newsletter, plug, then you get these recipes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But highly recommend. Like, I don't know. We're starting off 2026 with a bang, right?
Not that I condone underage drinking, but I'm pretty sure gin was one of the first things I sipped from my parents' stash, and I was just like I'm gonna die. Like, you think you're being so cool and sneaky, and you're like, I think I actually just poisoned myself.
Gin is not my, as I said, not my, no. Some people love and swear by their G&Ts.
I love it.
Good G&T.
I'm not a gin and tonic person, but I have come around to a nice gin cocktail. A solid, good gin cocktail, I'm all for it. But it took a while to get there. That did not happen in my teens and 20s.
It has to be the right atmosphere and ambiance. You have to be in the mood too.
100%. I'm with you. I think bringing this one in, Meagan, gin was one of the last
you had to graduate to the gin.
Right. There were a couple of milestones until I got to appreciating what a gin cocktail tastes like.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, butter wash gin. What are you gonna do? Well, with that, let me dive into, so I brought 2 duologies this month. Complete confession, I finished these November, December timeframe. Meagan, same train on that one. But I think they go hand in hand, right? And they're both romanticides. One of the things that I love, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, about this time, I know Bree's so excited for these ones that we're going to talk about. That I love, wintertime for me is romanticy reading season. It fits. Work is super busy. It's my busy season for me. So I like the escapism. And for me, a really good romanticy is one that has a super unique magic system. I love that these are completed duologies. So you're not signing up for 12 books that may never end in the future, but you have 1-2 finished story. And it feels real. I'll get into some of that, but the relationships and the way the characters interact feel very much grounded in humanity and reality, even though you're talking about magic and witches and all sorts of things going around. So without further ado, the first one is the Crimson Moth series, which is Heartless Hunter and Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. I think I said that right. This summary covers both books. It is based on Goodreads for both and my edits. So let's dive in. In a world reshaped by revolution, witches have fallen from power and are now hunted to extinction. Rune Winters survives by wearing 2 masks, a glittering socialite by day and a secret vigilante by night, risking everything to save her kind from eradication. Gideon Sharp is a devoted witch hunter, sworn to protect the fragile New Republic and destroy the very magic Rune embodies. When fate and deception entangles their lives, the two find themselves drawn together across enemy lines, each hiding truths that could shatter them both. As political unrest deepens and dangerous forces vie for control of the future, Rune and Gideon are forced to confront what they're willing to sacrifice: their loyalties, their beliefs, and each other. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, love becomes the most perilous magic of all. The Crimson Moth duology is a sweeping romantic fantasy of rebellion, betrayal, and impossible choices, where falling in love may be the deadliest risk of all. Dun, dun, dun. I think we need like sound effects. I don't know, in these.
I know.
Like, right? Yeah.
Makes me want to reread this duology.
It's so good. This, I like, Brie, you've read it. Jordan, have you? Or Meagan, have you?
Haven't yet.
Meagan, have you read it?
I had to ask. I was being fair.
I feel like when you first read this, Brie, you were like telling me all about it, and I was just like, yeah, great. I'm glad you like it.
Did tell you about this one.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it. So my sister gifted me Heartless Hunter, and I have never jumped so fast into book 2 when I finished the first one. What I love about this series is Rune as a FMC, female main character, is relatable, badass, like all of
Like
the
she's
above.
up there with Aelin.
I would put her up there with Aelin.
I mean, Aelin's hard to top, but she's
No, yeah,
yes.
no.
They can share a mountaintop. There's room up there for, right?
She's welcome.
But it's just fun to read. Like, it's if you're looking for that fun escapism, fantasy with romance, as I said, the magic system is unique. I know there's a lot of romantasy out there that center on, fae, and I love those as well. But it is also refreshing to dive into a romantasy that's more witches and witchcraft and like a bit of a different world building vibe. Gideon is like the best brooding, cranky MMC, but secretly a golden retriever on the inside. Love him. It's great. And like I said, their love story just felt realistic. Plus, I loved that it was 2 books, done, got through the duology, finished story, felt complete, and I didn't have another like 15 books that I was having to go through.
That's fair. Okay.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
I love it.
The next one, similar vibe, but totally different, is the Shepherd King series. So this is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. Brie and I have already fangirled like obsessively on like the Night in the Moth and like all things RG. So Rachel, if you're listening, we'd love to chat.
Make our 2026 dreams come true.
We would love to chat. So this Shepherd King series she wrote before Night in the Moth, because I know book 2 and Night in the Moth is coming out this year. So let's get into the recap. This is, again, Goodreads and my edits covering both books, completed duology. In the mist-shrouded kingdom of Blunder, magic is dangerous, forbidden, and bound to a deck of prophetic providence cards. Elspeth Spindle has survived by keeping a terrifying secret. An ancient, cunning spirit known as the Nightmare lives in her mind, lending her protection and demanding a terrible price. When Elspeth's path crosses with a mysterious outlaw tied to the royal court, she's drawn into a treasonous quest to rid the kingdom of the dark magic poisoning it. To succeed, they must collect all 12 Providence cards, venturing deeper into a world of secrets, curses, and forbidden power. As the journey grows more perilous and alliances are tested, Elspeth must confront the truth about the monster within her and the fragile line between control and surrender. With time running out and the fate of Blunder hanging in the balance, she's forced to decide how much of herself she's willing to sacrifice to save the kingdom and the people she loves. The Shepherd King duology is a haunting romantic fantasy filled with eerie magic, slow burn tension, and morally complex choices, where the greatest danger may be the voice you trust most. Dun, dun, dun.
I really don't know which one I want to read more. I'll be honest.
So
I like them both.
Both. I
She
will
said-
say, so if you like more witchy vibes and what I will say more like upfront romance kind of direct plot summary, I would go with the Crimson Moth series.
Okay.
If your vibe is gothic and twists and turns and like you're not clear on what
Okay.
is what and voices in your head kind of vibe gothicness, I would go the Shepherd King. Bree, your
Agree.
thoughts?
The only I would just add to that is so Crimson Moth has like a political element to it, and to me, Shepherd King duology is like it's more of a puzzle.
Okay, sure. That makes
I
sense.
would a puzzle with the crown of the kingdom being the prize.
Yes,
So there is like you can't not have politics.
you can't not have it.
No,
but
especially not with the world building. For sure.
Right.
correct.
For sure.
It's
But
still
Brionni-
there. It is still 100% there.
Okay.
I'm with you. Crimson Moth focuses more, the politics are more upfront, they're more in the background of
Exactly.
the other. Yep.
I love it. Okay. So see, Heartless Hunter might be a little bit more my vibe. Just for the moment, just how I'm feeling.
I've come to learn Rachel Gillig is another author I will always pick up, but it is gothic, darker, like more morally gray characters than necessarily other series or authors or whatnot. But this was epic. I think you guys see my notes, like epic in all caps, right?
Oh,
I
love it.
loved this. Bree, I know you were like chomping at the bit for me to get to this series. I finally got to it. Epic. You were so right. I should have done it months ago. Love Rachel Gillig, honestly. For me, I've really honed in on to be a captivating romantasy. It's that unique magic system, that unique take on how that magic system interacts with the world building and characters that are faced with choices that makes me as a reader go, gosh, what would I do? Like, what would I do? Right? As I'm reading along and following their choices, it makes me, it's the escapism part, right? You go along for the adventure and the journey. So I've unofficially crowned Ladies of the Romantasy Round Table. I think Rachel Gillig, Sarah J. Maas, and Rebecca Yarros are our three queens at this round table.
There you go.
We may come across other authors this year that also should have a seat at this Romantasy Round Table. But at least for me, those three are definitely seats of honor at that table.
I love it. Okay, very cool.
But yeah, no, I loved it. Elspeth is a great FMC. I did chuckle a bit that the kingdom's name is Blunder. I couldn't help
That
but
is a
laugh.
little funny.
Every time I read Blunder, it just felt like, I don't know.
It was a
funny to
little
me. Like it's, you know. But yeah, one of my favorite characters, I do want to make a call out though too, and I'm going to butcher this name, but Ione Hawthorne in book 2, she is my favorite character. Elspeth by far takes the cake in book 1. Love their story and you follow along. Bree, I think you know what I'm saying. Like she in book 2 is by far my favorite character, and her actions and her storyline and her love story. No notes. Chef's kiss. Yep.
I have to show you guys something. Ta-da!
Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my gosh. That's
Those are
gorgeous.
Aren't they amazing? I'm
They're
obsessed.
They're
They're
stunning.
beautiful. I love that. I love that. I love it. Breathe like
I'm so proud.
Yep.
Like I did it myself. I'm like, I know.
You got me with a good sprayed edge. Those are stunning.
Well, so I think I told you guys. Like Jared got me one of them as a gift. And very lovely gift. So appreciated. However, I can't not have the second one. Obviously. And so I just happened upon a bookstore grand reopening and immediately walked in and that was on the counter and I couldn't not support the bookstore and not get a book And so
course.
what better place to complete my pairing?
There you go.
You're such a philanthropist. Just,
Yeah.
just
Was really a selfless act, Brie. Thank you so much.
I know. So, and then I get to
Beautiful.
share them with you all.
Yeah.
There you go.
All
Tell us
good.
about your books, Brie.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, I'm so glad you brought both of those because I think that they deserve the shout out. And to your point, anybody that enjoys those types of reads in the winter months and wants something completed where you can jump right into book 2 because both of those end on cliffhangers, you can jump right in. It's so perfect. Okay. Well, I'm gonna take us in a different direction, kind of surprisingly, because I actually probably could have, well, I definitely could have brought a fantasy. I also could have brought a dystopian book, which I almost did because I did read Silver Elite, which blew up on
Yes.
Bookstagram and Book Talk last year. So I did read that. I almost brought that, but I'll get to that in just a second. But first, so not a cocktail or wine or anything lately. I have been just downing dirty chai tea lattes. Like those have been my go-to. I prefer them from local coffee shops. In that instance, because I normally like their chai concentrate, the blend that they use.
Love it.
But I had one this morning when I was standing in 4-degree weather and needed something cozy. So that's been my drink. You could also spike it too. You do you.
There you go.
Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is, actually an author interview we have coming up, and I normally try not to do that, but for life chaos reasons, plus this just felt like I needed to bring this book to talk about it a little bit more. So this is going to be The Wondrous Life and Loves of Nella Carter by Brionni Nwosu. And thank you to Goodreads for this recap. Most humans cower in the face of death, not Nella Mae Carter. She sees him. She doesn't hide. Instead, she bargains. Born enslaved in 18th century Georgia, Nella still believes in the will to survive amid the most untenable of conditions, in the glory of life, and in the ultimate goodness of the human race. She asks that death, doubtful and curious, allow her to live long enough to prove it. He's giving Nella all the time in the world. Challenged, Nella embarks on an epic journey across the globe and centuries. Each new incarnation records the joys and losses and the friendships and heartbreaks throughout her lifetimes. When she meets handsome and passionate Professor Sebastian Moore, the first man to whom she has ever revealed her secrets, Nella yearns for the mortality that escapes her. She can't bear to leave this love behind. As death keeps watch, has Nella's journey come to an end, or is a new one just beginning? So, like I said, normally wouldn't bring it, but I really wanted to talk about this one. Certainly reminiscent of Faust and Faustian debates. Nella's story, though, to me, couldn't have been more timely as a reader. She's born into a horrific period in time, as I just said, but Nella isn't afraid to boldly share her belief that there is good in humanity. And death is, very quick to say, like, I see everything and I see the worst, and how can you even say that? And given your position, how can you even think that there is good in the world? So thus begins a game of sorts with death to prove it, and what a task that would be considering all of the events to come. And so I just said, in a world that feels like very heavy right now, and I think, well, I know I have like a lot of anger at just where we're at. I also felt like it was really good to read a story that makes you have hope too, because you don't want to lose sight of all of that. And this story was really that. So it's such a mixture of grief and of hope, reading Nella's journey through time and across continents. She's constantly having to search for and share all the good in the world, often told through the relationships that she makes. And she can't disclose to those people like why she doesn't age, and even though they start to age or things change, she can't do any of that. I also just want to say, like, I learned so much from this perspective and the journey through history, especially Black history. And I'm honestly really excited to talk to Brionni about it, but also just the immense task that it was to cover such an extensive timeline, because we're talking late 1700s to present day, essentially, which is, I mean, the historical events that have happened in that timeline is insane. So I'm really looking forward to it, but it was a very thought-provoking and beautiful book. I would highly recommend.
This
I
is
love
reminding
that.
me a lot of Addie LaRue. Maybe a little less humanity, but kind of the same vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I think like they're both, so I thought that too, which they're both, I would say, Faust inspired. Like, I
Mhm.
think that that's it, to an extent, like everybody's kind of intrigued by that. Like, it rather than a deal with the devil, it's like a deal with death.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it was similar, but then at the same time, totally stands on its own in terms of how, what the story is really about. And so, but yeah, also maybe that's why I like it, because The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is one of my favorite books. So. Yeah, definitely recommend. And if you need like a little bit of hope,
Yeah.
that is a good one.
What's
Yes.
that line? It sounds like that the line that goes like, it's heartbreaking, but surprisingly uplifting.
Yes,
Upbeat.
it's
Yes.
heartbreaking, but surprisingly upbeat.
Uplifting. Yes, there you go.
I mean, I do think you like I got teary-eyed definitely at times, because it is you still feel, all of the friendships and like the loss that she goes through. And every time Death is like, "All right, are you done? Like, wasn't that enough?" And she's like, "No, like there's still so much good here. I promise there's so much good here." So it was a very, very cool story, and I love the history of it too. It was amazing to read. Okay. And then I really want to crush you all with the most heartbreaking of heartbreaking.
This is quite the one to end on. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about Heart the Lover by Lily King, also from Goodreads. Our narrator understands good love stories, their secrets and subtext, their highs and their free falls. But her greatest love story, the one she lived, never followed the simple rules. In the fall of her senior year of college, she meets two star students from her 17th century lit class, Sam and Yash. Best friends living off campus in the elegant house of a professor on sabbatical, the boys invite her into their intoxicating world of academic fervor, rapid fire banter, and ruckus card games. They nickname her Jordan, and she quickly discovers the pleasures of friendship, love, and her own intellectual ambition. Youthful passion is unpredictable, though, and she soon finds herself at the center of a charged and intricate triangle. As graduation comes and goes, choices made will alter these three lives forever. Decades later, Jordan is living the life she dreamed of, and the vulnerable days of her youth seem comfortably behind her. But when a surprise visit and unexpected news brings the past crashing into the present, Jordan returns to a world she left behind and is forced to confront the decisions and deceptions of her younger self. Okay, so I don't even know like really where to begin with this. I don't know if I should be so thrilled that I started the year off with this book or not, because to me this is, I don't know how to move on from this
Yeah.
book. Um, it's going to be unforgettable to me. So it is the type of story that, not to sound cheesy, but it truly leaves a mark on you, like an invisible tattoo, and it's always going to be there. It's always going to linger. You're going to think about it, all of that. This was my first novel by King, and I'm already ready to read another. One of her other popular ones is Writers and Lovers, I believe is what it's called, or Lovers and Writers. Don't quote me
Writers
100%
and
on that.
lovers, I think.
Which, like, fun fact, has a thread tied to this, but they are standalone books. Um, but despite all of that and me hyping this up for you, I will tell you that King owes me financial compensation, because I sobbed so hard on a plane next to an older gentleman while I read this. Um, and I should have stopped, you guys. Like so I was reading it in waiting to board and I was like, this is getting really sad. This is getting sad. I should go ahead and like I should stop and wait till I'm home. But it is a very fast read. I read it in under 24 hours. Like it's a short book.
It
It's
is,
so
yeah.
quick. And so I was like, this is getting sad. I could already feel the tears swelling in my eyes before I boarded the plane. But I sit down and it's just me and this man, and he doesn't wear headphones. He's there for the ride, and I'm full on like uncontrollable, holding my nose, having to close the book. Like I'm deep breathing. I'm like, yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. So, that said, King's prose in this is so powerful, putting you right there with our unnamed narrator. You feel every single friendship, you feel the messiness of relationships, you feel the love, and you feel the loss. Like, I truly can't recommend it enough, especially if you are a Sally Rooney fan or if you enjoyed Adelaide, like Meagan talked about last year, then this
Yeah.
is right up there with a story that you will not enjoy, but you will want to read it, and then you'll want to talk about it.
There
Um,
you go.
I will just say like lots of trigger warnings, so check those out and proceed with caution.
There you go. Yeah, I really, really
I've-
loved it. I thought it
But
was a
Jordan,
good
you
one.
rated it 3 stars on Goodreads.
Well, so I think I shot myself in the foot, listener. So Bree talked about the thread between Lily King's other book, Writers and Lovers. And that was sort of where I think I gave it 3, was because I do wish that I had read Writers and Lovers. And this is coming from someone that has heard from other readers who love Lily King. And yes, everyone says you can read these standalone, and that's not wrong. That's absolutely not wrong. The thread between
Don't spoil
these two
it. Do not
books,
spoil it, because you will.
it hits different.
I was gonna say, do not spoil it, because you will literally spoil the end of the book.
No, all I'm going to say is if you've read Writers and Lovers, the thread hits different.
See, I
than
feel like
if
it
you
can go
have it.
both ways, because I thought the ending to me was so chef's kiss and so
good.
well done that I feel like it's going to be just as impactful knowing what I know now.
And I walked away from it wishing that I had known.
All right, so take that with whatever you want to do. Go on your
And
own
that's
reading
totally not
journey.
me trying to get that's totally not me trying to give anything away at all. I think that
Like when I tell you guys I finished this, and I don't know how much flying time I had left because it was a lot. And I just kind of sat there and stared out the window, like contemplating life, and was just like, where do I go from here? What do I do? Um, and then when I eventually landed, I called Jared and I was like, so I just sobbed on the plane about my book. And he was like, oh no, like, were you next to anyone? I was like, yeah, this like nice man who never asked me how I was doing, which is fine because he was probably like, this girl's crying about her book. But I was walking through the airport like teary-eyed talking to him thinking about it. Okay. Oh, on a much happier note, who has watched People We Meet on Vacation?
2 for 2, Emily. 2 for 2.
I also like, this is shame on me. I have yet to read People We Meet on Vacation.
Wait, don't you have
Read it first.
Definitely read it.
I will say it is on my bookshelf. It stares at me daily, but I have yet to read it before I then watch it. I am like, I'm behind. Just in general.
It's
Like,
okay.
You're good.
You know, it's just the turn of the year.
And
My
all
busy
good.
season is
You
like,
won't be disappointed. When you get there, you won't be disappointed.
And I'll be
It's-
honest, If
Yeah.
you wanted to just watch it, that's fine too. I'm going to put it out there. You can do that, and that is okay.
I
You
appreciate
can.
that.
I will say, not to give anything away, obviously movies like to take their liberties, so there are significant differences. But you could watch the movie by itself, you could read the book by itself.
I was
Not a big
thinking
deal.
actually reading it, like, because Valentine's Day obviously is coming up, right? So I was going, that could be a really fun, cutesy, like,
Absolutely.
romance,
Yeah.
to read around that time. I have a big plane trip coming up, so we'll see, Or
Do you
we'll
think
just, yeah.
they can both be enjoyed? But I thought the movie was really
Yes.
good too.
Yes,
So
I agree.
yeah,
I thought, yeah, very well done. It does take a departure from the book a little bit.
See, that's what I'm hesitant because so we've all obviously read Thursday Murder Club. We covered it extensively last year, and I was a little disappointed in how certain parts of the movie with Thursday Murder Club were handled. And
Yeah.
I love the book. And so I'm a little hesitant to not read the book first because if that's the way, like if they took liberties with it, which I get, it has to happen, I'd rather have the story in its purest form.
Fair.
do you think it helped that I read it 3 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, it helps to have time between
Between the
book and the
two.
movie.
Yeah.
But
But
it
I
was
agree with
fun.
Meagan. Both can be enjoyed.
Yes, and it was I actually had the privilege of getting to watch it with Brie, which was great. But it was fun getting to be like, "Oh yeah, and then this happened. Oh, but this is not happening. Oh, but this should have happened. Oh, but then if you're because then my sister-in-law watched it with us too, and she had literally just finished the book like that day.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, but you guys forgot about this part." And we're like, "Oh my God, you're right." So it's fun. I mean, you can do whatever you need to do.
Maybe this will be my first audiobook of 2026 because I
There you
do
go.
love Emily Henry as an audiobook.
There you go. Go for it.
So TBD.
Well, keep us posted. I'm
I
very
will,
curious
for sure.
about both you reading it and watching it.
Yes.
Please do.
And The Housemaid's Tale. It's on the list. That's all that's my
Yes.
phrase these days. It's
Also,
cool.
I haven't watched Thursday Murder Club.
That's okay.
I've only watched half of it.
Okay.
Oh, you only watched half of it.
She
Okay,
paused
well.
and walked away.
I
Even.
started it and then I
Even.
didn't finish it.
It's all,
You'll have to let us know once you finish, and then Meagan once you watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I will say, sorry to just keep talking. So far my January has been nothing but reading Red Rising. I don't make time for TV. I only read my books. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't started watching Tell Me Lies season 3.
Yes, I need to start that because I have loved that series, even though that also made a huge departure from the book. If you guys haven't read that one either.
I mean, I think we talked about this 3 episodes ago. I just finished the latest season of Mormon Wives, like a week ago. You haven't,
So good.
You haven't finished it?
I don't know. Oh, I was gonna say, what am I watching? This is so dumb. They put The Closer on Netflix.
There you go.
I used to watch back in like the mid 2000s.
Yes.
So I will say I've actually been reading a lot, because I've been on a lot of planes. But when I've been watching something, I've been super committed.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to ask, any Bridgerton fans excited for the new season?
I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
I'm stoked.
cannot wait.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
They'll
I've
bring
only
me back when
seen
it's
the first
Eloise's
season.
turn. I'll be so invested when it's Eloise's season.
There you go. There you go.
Not for this one?
No, honestly, it like after season 2, I have just been
Kind of fell off.
yeah, I don't know, like I did watch the last season because I wouldn't say I wasn't not excited for it, but Eloise is like one of my favorite characters in that one, and so
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. When
Well,
does it start?
My cup of tea.
Like next week. I think part 1 of season 4 comes out like next week, maybe.
Okay.
So, but
Let me
yes.
know. I want to
And
know if
then-
it's good, if I should jump in.
Well, and just to kind of wrap things up here, I mean, I'm super excited to get everyone's thoughts on Red Rising. Will be coming to your ears, listeners, later this month with that. So that'll
Yes.
be fun. What else do we have coming up this month, Brie?
So this month, yes, kicking off Red Rising, like we just said, and then the interview with Brionni Nwosu about the wondrous life and loves of Nella Carter as well. And that will be January. Lots more on the docket for February, but yeah, we're already halfway through this month, so we only have a couple episodes left. So one author interview, and then our full family conversation about Red Rising. So if you're reading along with us or have read it and are a big fan, that episode is definitely for you. Ladies, always so fun, even if it was maybe a sadder episode. Okay.
We derailed a little bit to kick off 2026, but you know what? We can only go up from here.
Truly, truly. So thanks so much for listening. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co. with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at books.bottles.
Cheers!
Cheers.